This is Charlie Kao with TravelMole Media Group at Paquare Lodge by the Paquare River. They are hosting the Zeitz Foundation's The Lone Initiative's members meeting here. And I'm with Hans Pfister, who's the president of Cayuga Collection from Costa Rica, representing, I think, nearly a dozen, not quite yet, eight special, unique boutique eco lodges. But Hans, tell us about your collection.
Yeah, we have a collection of 8 sustainable hotels and lodges, and what's unique about them is they're all small and they're all luxurious in their way, and they're very much focused on sustainability. So what we try to do is to create the perfect symbiosis of sustainability and luxury in the guest experience. Our lodges are located mostly in Costa Rica, but there's also one that we have in Nicaragua.
And they are near rainforests, nature,
Yes.
near nature.
They're all in natural environments. Some are more remote than others. And they all have a different focus in terms of activity. You know, while there's some, La Parillos in the Osa Peninsula, for example, that's the premier lodge for wildlife. There's more wildlife there than any other place in Costa Rica that you can observe very up close. Others might be focusing a little bit more on surfing or on the beach culture, in the north of Costa Rica. And then you have Jícaro Lodge, for example, in Nicaragua, that's situated on an island in Lake Nicaragua, so you have a completely different experience there as well. But the variety of all the different kind of places is what makes it so special.
How far back would you go historically for the development of eco-lodges for Costa Rica?
Well, I think one of the pioneers in eco-lodge development is John and Karen Lewis of La Parillos. They started almost 25 years ago, and we've been managing their lodge for them now since 1999. So it's quite a while back.
Well, 25 years is relatively young, isn't it? But it's blossomed.
It is young. It has blossomed. But for a hotel, 25 years is actually quite a bit of time. So it's also important that we have been able to reinvent ourselves, and make adjustments according to the expectations and tastes of our guests over time.
And most of these lodges are privately owned. Let's take Paquare Lodge. How does somebody like Roberto and Luz, 20 years ago, having grown up not too far from here, how do they go, hey, you know what, this is a great piece of land, we want to build an luxury eco-lodge? How does that happen?
Well, I don't think it happened that way. I think they started 25 years ago rafting the river and then saying, let's stay overnight, so they camped. And then there's like, well, it'd be nice to have a real roof other than the tent, and they built some simple cabins. And then built a couple more cabins. They said, it'd be nice to have a restaurant. I built a restaurant. But then the restaurant and the cabins weren't quite up to the standards of the guests, and then they built a better restaurant and better cabins. And so I think it was something that happened a little bit more over time in their case. In the case of La Parillos, actually, John and Karen came and said, no, we want to build an upscale eco-lodge. It was their idea right from the beginning. Because they felt that if we can get people that are decision makers, that have influence in the societies where they normally live, and they come on vacation, and we can leave a print on them about conservation, about sustainability, then we can really make a difference. And I have seen this over the many years that we've been involved of people coming and sitting there, observing wildlife, interacting with the local guides, and saying, yes, got to change something, many guests have told me this has changed the way I see things. This has changed the way I feel about things, and I'm going to make changes not only at home but also in my work, where I can really influence people.
Most of the guests are from the United States.
Yes, about 80%.
And the growth market is what? UK for Costa Rica? Is that a...
Yeah, the growth market depends much on air access. So our print, mostly we have people from the East Coast or the Midwest. About a couple of years ago, there was actually some improvement in the flights from the West Coast, and that continues to improve. I think Alaska Airlines starts flying this month with regular flights. So the West Coast is actually a big growth market for us, and then of course Europe, and the British Airways flight coming in next May will be huge for us, very important, not only for the UK market, but for all of Northern Europe, because of such easy connections to London with most Northern European cities. We've looked at some other markets, South America, Asia, but the preference of those markets that are just starting to travel is not necessarily nature tourism. They might be looking more for maybe a shopping experience or checking off monuments of their bucket list of the Eiffel Tower,
iconic,
and iconic
places around the world. And I presume domestic air connection or accessibility, nature air was one of the earlier ones with Alex.
Yeah, Nature Air and Sansa both are they've been around for a long time.
Hans Pfister with Cayuga Collection, thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie.